So in the previous session, we were talking about bringing awareness to these unconscious times, which for many of us comprise our entire life, a big portion of our life, unconscious, just moving through, being driven to do this, being driven to do that, being driven to, and then all of a sudden something happens, and we become awake, and we bring presence to that moment, and we start seeing something maybe we didn't see before. So at the end of the last segment, I was mentioning that a couple of days ago we were on a plane and I left my Amazon Kindle, which is, you know, pretty expensive item, in the seat back pocket on the airplane. And then when I went to find the Kindle yesterday, I realized it's gone. So I traced back my steps and realized that I left it. And so I thought, oh, there's got to be a way to recover it. So I checked the lost and found. It hasn't been found. Then I go into my Kindle account and find out that it says you don't have a Kindle. You've been deregistered. And I realized what happened. Some wonderful person found my Kindle on the airplane, and rather than doing anything, because it had identification and so forth, to find me, went on to Amazon.com, deregistered the Kindle from me, and re-registered it in their own name. And now they're happily using my Kindle. So I thought, well, Amazon will know who they are. So I get on Amazon to get them to track this person down so I can contact them and say, I want my Kindle back. And they say, well, we know who it is, but we can't tell you. The only way you can do it is to file a police report, and the police have to get a subpoena, and they can subpoena our records, and then we'll tell them, it will tell you, or tell the police, who has your Kindle. Well, it doesn't really make any sense to me to go through all of that and so forth. So finally, I had to resolve myself and say, my Kindle is lost. My Kindle is lost. Now, what is lost? Is it a part of me that's lost? Is there some piece of me that's gone? Well, I mean, that's a fairly good sized investment. It's certainly not something that you want to treat lightly, but then the question is there anything I can do about it? Well, there is something I could do. I could file a police report. Am I willing to go through all that? No. So now what? Because my mind is churning with all of this. Oh, how could I do that? I left it on the plane. What's the matter? You know. So what do? Well, there's an alarm clock. It says there's a disturbance. There's a tremor in the force. What's going on? Well, there's nothing to do except to bring some awareness to that moment. Bring some awareness to that moment. And what do I see? What do I feel? What do I experience? That's a very interesting thing to do just on a normal basis. Is whenever there's something that says this moment, this what's happening right now is bad, there's something wrong, this is a problem, and you feel the turmoil, bring awareness to that, and just don't do anything, just bring awareness to it and see what you experience. It's an enlightening experience. It's an enlightening experience to live your life that way. Because what we do is we're continually running from the things we don't like and running towards the things that we do like, as though we really knew the difference. And we're driven in one way or another. Well, interesting thing was, I remember taking in college or something, somewhere in the dim past, my age, it gets dimmer and dimmer, those years ago, but a class in which we were studying lower life forms, a biology class, and like amoebas and so forth, and how they could take these one-celled creatures and then they could put them on a slide and watch them in a microscope, and they could apply heat or something like that, and they see the amoeba just move away from the heat or whatever this thing is, and how immediately they can create a reaction in this very low life form, how it reacts to this. It's drawn to move over here, and it's repelled to move back from here. And I sometimes think that we as human beings are not far from that. We're being drawn over here, and we're being repelled by this. And the amoeba can't bring any conscious awareness to the present moment and what's happening. What is this thing that's driving me? There's just not much awareness there. We can do it, but yet we don't bring much of it either. I don't know if you had anything to say, but...
Well, I think that in all this, there has to be within the individual a deep need for some kind of change in their life. You know, this is not even going to happen at all. It's not even going to be any efforting toward it if there isn't a really deep need in the individual's life to change. I think that a lot of times people have some horrible catastrophe. Their wife dies, or their husband dies, or a child dies, or they have an awful accident, or, you know, something really bad happens, and then they turn around and go, oh my gosh, I am in such pain, how can I get rid of this pain? So they may pick up a book for the very first time and read, like, you know, something like Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, and say, you know what, this is helping me. They may start reaching out, groping for a change, and really, really, really deeply wanting a change. And that's the only time any of this is going to take place. It has to be the individual really, really wanting it. And most of us are pretty much numbed by life and life's process. We go to work, we come home, we have dinner, we turn on the TV, we do a little whatever, maybe homework we have to do, if there's some stuff we need to do at home, and then we take a shower and we go to bed, and then we repeat the same thing, you know, 5 days a week. And then on the weekend, you know, we do the yard work, whatever. There's pretty much a routine in life, and we get pretty numb by it, and it just goes on day after day. Nothing really changes. We may lose a Kindle, we may lose something, and it'll be, you know, jarring, but then we pick up and we go on. But there's nothing really that takes you down to your knees because, oh my God. Those of us, in my case, who've had a rather traumatic beginning and who have been shaken by life, you know, early on, I do think that there's more of a tendency to say, what is this all about? What is this all about? And we pick up books early on, or we listen to tapes or CDs, in today's world, DVDs, to find out what are the answers. How can I rid myself of this pain? You know, what is wrong with this picture, basically. And so we start searching and looking for answers, and bit by bit we come upon this whole idea of you know, what you're talking about, and that is coming right back to being real close to what you're doing right now, the simplicity of being here now with what is. And these aren't just words anymore. And I think they can be just words to a person who's not in pain. But if you're looking for answers and you deeply, deeply want to change, you actually bring life to this whole thing, of the simplicity of now. Because to the mind that sounds very boring. The simplicity of now, I mean, ooh, yuck, who wants to be there? Well, actually, if you're in enough pain, you do want to be there. And you want to find out what is the texture of now. The feeling of the water when you're doing the dishes in your hands. The fresh air blowing around you, the sounds of the birds. The real intimate being here with yourself, my God. You know, how we're so in the head so much, we're so conceptual with our worries and thinking of this and thinking of that we're never right here real close to our breath, real close to our bodies, real close to being simple. And that's what this is really all about.